You can't cheer for regime change in Iran without also cheering for the U.S. empire. The Western press are reporting that Trump is considering another attack on Iran as protests heat up amid a government crackdown and internet blackout. The president had previously announced that he will intervene militarily if the Iranian government starts killing protesters. At this point, it's probably worth recalling that earlier this month, Mike Pompeo tweeted that Mossad agents were intimately involved in the unrest, saying, "Happy New Year to every Iranian in the streets, also to every Mossad agent walking beside them." Pompeo was Secretary of State during Trump's first term and was Trump's CIA director prior to that. The claim that Mossad agents are active among the protesters has also been circulated by the Israeli press. As Secretary of State, Pompeo said during a 2020 interview that the goal of the crushing sanctions the U.S. had imposed on Iran was not to pressure the Iranian government to change, but to pressure the Iranian people to change the government. He told former acting CIA Director Mike Morell that while he didn't expect the sanctions to change Tehran's behavior, he believed that, quote, "what can change is the people can change the government." Pompeo was confessing that Washington's starvation sanctions were not directed at the Iranian government, but at the people of Iran. The goal has been to make them so miserable and impoverished that they turn to civil war against their government out of desperation. Economic strife is widely cited as a driving motivator for these protests. Deliberately immiserating a population in order to cause a civil war is a profoundly evil thing to do. And it becomes all the more evil when you understand that it is only being done for power and geostrategic domination. If you think of yourself as a leftist or an opponent of the U.S. murder machine, there is no valid excuse for you to support regime change in Iran. It's not okay to be a grown adult and pretend this is all happening in a vacuum, like it's somehow separate from all these foreign abuses that have been calculatingly engineered to give rise to the unrest we are seeing in Iran today, and act like this wouldn't directly benefit the most murderous and tyrannical regime on this planet. I find it so offensive when I see anarchists and NATO progressives supporting the regime change agendas of the CIA and the Pentagon like it somehow makes the world less tyrannical when yet another nation gets absorbed into the folds of the imperial blob. If they do get their wish and Tehran is toppled, all that will happen is that the U.S. centralized empire will gain that much more power, and the worst people on earth will get big smiles on their faces. It gives the most powerful and destructive power structure on Earth even more control over the fate of our species, and these infantile human livestock are clapping along with it and pretending they're sticking it to the man. It's a completely nonsensical position to support the downfall of any government before the fall of the Western Empire, because that is the most deadly and abusive power structure in existence, and because it directly benefits whenever it succeeds in absorbing a non-compliant state into its power umbrella. If you actually oppose tyranny and support freedom, it's absurd to desire the fall of the empire's enemies while the empire itself remains standing, because every win for the empire makes the world less free. I don't know what's going to happen in Iran, but I hope the empire fails its regime change operation. I hope the Western Empire gets weaker, not stronger, because it is only getting more and more despotic and deadly as the years go on, and the last thing we need is for it to shore up even more control over our planet. Humanity won't have a shot at real freedom until that power structure has been thoroughly dismantled.